Hey guys, Blade Check 101 here for another knife review for you today. We're going to be going over a great knife. Anyone in a special forces unit of the military, or anyone in perhaps a SWAT team, maybe a overzealous police officer, or a again like myself, an overzealous armed civilian. I would highly recommend this blade for any of those groups, and that is legally, of course. And that is the 6-inch Coldsteel Lite. You have a 6-inch AUS 8A stainless steel blade. Of course, a spear point, as you can see, modeled after the stiletto daggers of the 1950s, kind of like a West Side Story kind of a deal. Beautiful knife, strong lockup, and I'll be going over that kind of stuff too. What I like about it, what I don't. Keep it fair and balanced for you guys. Now, one thing I'll get into first, and one thing you may have even noticed, is the deployment on this thing is just amazing, you know, and it makes me smile because this knife it gets addicting to open. Uh, I'm not flicking this. I am not slamming it forward at all, just like that. It requires nothing like that whatsoever. It's just a simple push of the thumb and it opens really fast. There's no assist on this thing whatsoever. So any spring assisted laws are null and void. The one thing that you may have a problem with is the deployment with the Quillian here. Now, what that'll do, and I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but basically as you pull the knife out of your pocket, the edge of your pocket, um, you know, the pulling force causes the blade to open, and it's a very quick deployment, rivaling a fixed blade. So there are actually some states with laws that restrict this as an opening feature. You'll find the same thing with an Emerson Wave or in the Spyderco lineup or in the Emerson lineup, and Coldsteel has a bunch of knives now like this. So just be careful of your local knife laws, especially for the length restriction when you're dealing with a blade like this. Now, truth be told, any police officer who sees you carrying this knife is probably going to wonder why you're carrying a blade of this length. This is a 13.5-inch long blade, guys. It's not a tiny knife. If you have blade length restrictions and you know them and you want the same kind of look, there is a 4-inch version, which I have both the aluminum handle and, like this, the Zytel handle. And they're beautiful, and I highly recommend those as well. Now, they are purpose-built self-defense knives. This is not a great utility blade. You're dealing with a 3/16 of an inch thick, just about, blade here with a grind that starts mid-spine. You know, it's not going to do an awful lot for you. So you might want to, think about getting, if you're looking for a good tactical and utility knife, I'd recommend a different blade. But if you're looking for a dedicated self-defense tactical blade, great knife. With lethal and non-lethal capacity. Obviously, your lethal is with the blade itself, and of course non-lethal with the flat side here, or the just the rounded side here, or with the Quillian side. Now, hitting with this is going to be devastating to your opponent. Um, I'd recommend this if you're looking not to hurt someone quite so badly for whatever reason. This is just so painful. Uh, it does have rescue capabilities. I would not recommend this knife for obvious reasons for a seatbelt cutter. You're talking about a dagger, a knife designed for piercing, and when you're trying to insert that thing, between a neck and a seatbelt, you need to be really careful. And a dagger, to me, is just not the way to go. Uh, you may think differently, and that's cool. And you may have more experience than me in that area, but whatever. Now, the Quillian also gives you really good glass breaking capabilities, which I've tried on junkyard cars, basically, and great option for window breaking. Because of this Quillian, you have a hammer action instead of a. Now you can do this as well, but instead of a stabbing or a this kind of action, which your hand can go through. You can get cut up or whatever if you're not wearing gloves. But if you're not wearing gloves, simply wrap your fingers around like this and just tap. And that'll do the job. It gets nice and heavy up there, so you'll do fine. The balance on this blade is exquisite. You know, it's just really, really nice. It's an easy flipper. Not that you would ever do that, guys, in any kind of defensive situation, because your opponent would easily use that opportunity to rush you and kill you. Excuse me. The only reason I suggest doing this kind of thing is to get familiar with your blades. And I do it with all of my knives. Not for anything cool. It's like gun spinning. You wouldn't do that in a self-defense situation, but it's fun to do, and it gives you an idea of the balance of your weapon come that dark day when you need to, use it. So, that's the mileage there. Now, what's different about this knife compared to the 4-inch Lite, specifically, obviously, an extra 2 inches, but the stopping pin here is actually just that, a pin. The one on the 4-inch versions is a screw. Now, I have a problem with this because when you have a hardened steel screw, like that is, you're dealing with something really, really brittle. And when you're dealing with a blade swinging open like that at such a hard speed, and that's what's stopping it, you will break it. And I have. I've had my 4-inch Lite, and this is my first actual, like, real, true folding tactical blade. I've had plenty of other knives before it, but this is my one true folding tactical blade, my first one, I should say. And I got it a really long time ago, and I love it, and I still do. But the backstop pin, or screw I should say, actually did break. Now that's worth noting because I actually had to get a screw to replace it. Kind of a pain. I didn't carry the knife for a little while because I couldn't find the screw for it and all that kind of thing. But even Loctiting it is kind of useless. I really would, if Coldsteel ever watches any of these videos, I'd highly recommend, if you redo the Lite series, or if you're going to do another run of them next year or whatever. I know you have a lot of new dagger designs as of 2011, but a stop pin on all of them would be exquisite. That would be truly, truly wonderful instead of a screw. You're dealing with a liner lock here, but it is a Coldsteel liner lock, so you're dealing with a fantastic design where the main stock comes up and then an extra piece folds over, as you can see. Now that makes it really comfortable for closing because it's nice and rounded right here. It also makes it really safe because all the stress when you're pushing on the back of the blade is distributed throughout the entire tang and down, and then into this, which is nice and close to the straight liners. So basically it's physics. You're taking, it's better alignment and less stress on just one thin little piece of steel. So it's a really, really good design, solid design. Their old Scimitar, which I have, has that. Some of their really nice custom knives have that liner lock design, and it's really, really good. So I will vouch for that. So I do recommend that. The gripping on this one is Zytel. The scales are Zytel, and the other option is aluminum. The aluminum looks really, really cool, but you're going to get a better grip from the Zytel. The texturing is nice. The striping pattern on this one in particular is really, really nice. So you have a good option there. Now, because the handle is so long, yes, you can handle it just like this and have a nice long dagger design, but I personally would prefer this. You grip it simply back here, wrap your hand around that, and you've got an extra 3-4 inches of cutting, or of length reach for you. So when you're thrusting like that, now you've got quite a lot of piercing capabilities and cutting. It's a great cutter. Like I said, I work at a place where we have a meat shop, and all the old trimmings and everything, I just wrap them up in a ton of saran wrap. Put some cardboard on them or whatever, and just hack through it. And this thing it passes straight through it. Piercing, it goes all the way through. Great, great piercer. Like I said, you have the self-defense options here, and then, Worst case scenario comes up, and now you've got this fantastic blade that just is beautiful for a tactical design. Now keep in mind, guys, legally, you really want to be careful with this blade. Um, Length restrictions, anything like that, be really, really careful. Ask a lawyer. It does not hurt to ask. Um, and after you ask a lawyer, ask a police officer, because if the police officer says it's bad, it's bad. And a cop might ask, why are you carrying a 13.5-inch long knife with a 6-inch blade of a dagger-like design? Um, and that may be a problem. Now, it does have a shiny pocket clip, so it is more noticeable. I would recommend Duracoating that, um, painting it, whatever you want to do. Maybe some skateboard tape just on that so you have better, retraction. But I would recommend doing something to it to darken it up, make this knife a little less like, hey, look at me. Um, Definitely, I'd recommend doing that. But overall, great knife. And like I said, if you are a SWAT member, or, a member of the SWAT team, or if you are a special forces, you know, member or something like that in our military, thank you for your service, of course. Uh, but I'd highly recommend this blade as your tactical folding knife. It's got great deployment, solid lockup, completely and totally solid. And for a deployment that fast, that's actually kind of surprising. But you've got a great blade, great reach, not a great survival knife, but that's not what it's designed for. It's designed for killing bad guys. And I hope that everyone watching my videos is a good guy as opposed to a bad guy. If you are a bad guy, please stop watching. But yeah, great knife. Highly recommend it. If you guys have any questions about where to get it for a nice cheap price or anything like that, any questions in general, tactics, whatever, email me at learniaido@aol.com, or leave me a comment. If you guys email me, though, like I've said before, put YouTube in the subject box. Otherwise, I won't answer the email. So just send that to me. I'll answer any questions you have. I check my email a couple times a day at least. So I'll get back to you, probably within that day, if not the next day, probably. But again, the 6-inch Coldsteel highlight. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and have a great day.